So, the blog post that is coming out today is called Let's Define Purpose. And I love this post. I mean, I kind of love all of mine, I'm not gonna lie, or else I wouldn't put them out there for the world to read. But I really do like this one because it has some points that I've had to learn that no one really taught me. And they all have to do with purpose and what is purpose and what's God's purpose. And I've kind of enjoyed learning about that, but it's been really difficult. And I kind of wanted to go into a little detail about something that I've kind of stepped into realization with the last few weeks. And that is this whole idea of God's plan. And so often we hear, even from other Christians say it all the time, of something wrong is in your life, something bad is happening, whether it's illness or addiction or mental health or just even depression, anxiety, like whatever it is, of someone saying, oh, it's God's plan, he'll use it. And it's always kind of been unsettling to me, but I didn't really know why. And especially after hearing it for so long, I just thought that was true. Like, it's God's plan. But what I have realized recently is that those things are never part of God's plan. God does not want sickness for us. He doesn't want pain for us. He doesn't want destruction for us. In fact, he fights on our behalf against those things in this spiritual warfare that we really aren't even all that aware of. And he's actively fighting to rid those things in our lives. So what is God's plan? And that's hard because I think God can use anything for good. And he says that in the Bible. Like he will redeem anything, transform anything. And I think that really is a promise. But the things that are really hard in life that we walk through, I don't believe are always God's plan, but I do believe that he can use it. So, for example, I like to think that God has like a few plans for us that he thinks are just wonderful gifts that he is just dying to give us and cannot wait. And is just like any kind of almost eager parent, like on Christmas Day, like that parent that just cannot wait to see the smile on their kids' faces as they like open up the best present in the whole world. And I think that that's kind of what God has for us. But then because we are human and because we have free choice and free will, we have the choice to do things that are not in line with God's plan. Kind of go on the illustration, it's almost like we put that gift to the side and search for something that we think is bigger and better. And like that is our choice and God gives us that choice, but in that we are saying no to what God has in store for us and instead trading that in for what we want for ourselves. And that kind of selfishness and lack of humility and lack of trust and faith is never what God wants. And in those mistakes, we can learn and grow and become closer to God. But like I said, that's not God's plan. So for example, I kind of came into a situation a few weeks ago where I was just praying really hard for something that I desperately have wanted to see some change in really the last few years, I'm not gonna lie. It's been kind of a battle, so to speak, and it ended up falling apart, and the situation that I was in did not turn out as I had initially wanted. And I had a friend that was trying to comfort me and said like, oh, it's okay, like I'm sure it's God's plan. And I said, I don't know if that's true. I said, this person in my life made a choice and there are circumstances around that, and it's hard to know whether God wasn't talking or whether this person wasn't listening. And regardless of how that plays out, I know that God can use this for good, but I'm not going to say that it's his plan. And it's okay to rest in that and to know that. And like I said, there's promise of redemption in there. But also, like, don't say things just because they sound good. Like, God has a plan, but we don't always choose to accept it. So I would encourage you today to want to accept God's plan for you. Like, he is that good father that wants to give you the biggest and the best gift and the things that you could only dream of. Like, do not be so small-minded and selfish to put that to the side in exchange for what you want instead. And know that there's redemption in all things, but also know that you have a choice daily to choose yourself or to choose God. And the moment that you decide to choose yourself over God, God is no longer in that, and that is not his plan. So hopefully there's some truth in that maybe you have or haven't heard before, and that's something that I've recently learned and I'm still kind of growing in the knowledge in, as I hoping to kind of deepen my understanding of that. But hopefully that's some food for thought. And yeah, comment below, tell me what you think, and I'd love to hear from you. All right.